Chapter 1, InDesign, Laying Out a Document. 1.1, create a new document with settings appropriate for print or on-screen display. Our first point is to open our program, InDesign, and we get our welcome box. As you know, we just click X, or you can click Don't Show Again, and close that box. Now our window is open. Our InDesign window being open with no document open allows us to do a couple of things. First, we can determine what our preferences are for our program, and they would be global. Any preferences that we set now, for instance, if we want to measure things in inches rather than picas or points, then we would go with no document open in our window to Edit, Preferences, Units and Increments, and our dialog box opens, and you can see Units and Increments here, and then we would choose, right now we're on points, we're going to drop down and choose inches, and we're going to click OK. Now, from now on, any document opened on this computer in this program will be measured in inches. That is called a global preference. If we opened a document and changed any of our preferences with a document open, that would mean that only those preferences, the preferences we chose, only apply to that document that we have open. As with preferences, changes made in any settings while a document is open apply to the document only. On the other hand, changes made in document settings when no document is open are global. In other words, they apply to all new documents open on that computer in that program. For example, right now I have no document open. If I want to create a swatch that would be available to me in any document that I open in this program, I can create that swatch now. So that color swatch would then be available to me no matter what document I open. As long as it's in this program, it's available to me because I created it in a global setting. In other words, without a document open. If you go to Edit, Preferences, and you could choose any of these items, we'll just go to Type. You see a variety of options for you to check out. Type options, drag and drop text editing. You can enable in Layout View, in other words, just inside the document or just in Story Editor. You also have, anything. Units and increments to set however you want them to be. You can set your dictionary up. You can check and deal with, you can load a particular dictionary. You can set your hyphenation exceptions, spelling, find misspelled, repeated words, uncapitalized words or sentences, and you can decide the colors that they show in if you choose to enable dynamic spelling. Autocorrect. You can enable autocorrect. You can also choose to track your changes that you make throughout a document. You can choose to deal with file handling in a variety of ways, saving InDesign files and snippet imports, links, that kind of thing. Now, we're going to begin for document presets. You might need to create several documents that have similar dimensions or layout guides. Or you might find that you are creating different kinds of documents like flyers or newsletters or magazine ads that have similar dimensions or layout properties. Instead of specifying settings in the new document each time you create a document, you can save document presets that include these custom settings. After you've created a document preset, you can use it to create a document by choosing File, Document Presets, and choosing the preset from the submenu. We'll talk more about that in an additional lesson. Let's talk about overview of measurement systems. InDesign uses picas as the default unit of measure. This is generally the default unit of measure in any kind of program like this because that is generally the one used by newspapers and magazines. It's been the age-old unit of measurement. Font size is measured in points, so that also is a reason that picas and points are generally the default. If you want to change the unit of measure, again you go to Edit Preferences, Units and Increments. For record, 72 points equals 1 inch, 12 points equals 1 pica, and 6 picas equal 1 inch. Those are the conversions that may be helpful to you. Now let's talk about actually creating a document. So we go to File, New Document, and our New Document dialog box opens. Now here, if we had a document preset, we were talking about that just a moment ago, one set up already that we use continually, we could choose that here, but we don't, so we're going to go with the default. Our next job is to choose our intent. Is this going to be a print document, or one for web, or one for digital publishing? Well, we're just going to go for print for now. How many pages? It's always going to be defaulted to 1. You could put as many as you like, up to, I believe, 9,999 if I'm not mistaken. And then you want to check or uncheck facing pages. In other words, do you want it to be like a book or magazine, or do you want them to be individual pages? Finally, do you want to start page number 1, or do you want to start it at a later time? You know how there are sometimes some books or documents will start with a little intro and they don't want to start the number 1 page there. Choose your page size. Ours is going to be letter. Okay. You can also here choose a custom if you wish. We'll do that at a later date. To be more specific later on in a later lesson. You choose your orientation, you choose your number of columns, the gutter, and then your margins. We're going to leave those all as is. Also, notice you have more options here for the bleed and the slug. The bleed is obviously how it bleeds off the page where there's no margin set on the document. The slug is actually an area that we'll get into and talk about these things a little later. For now, we're just going to go with our print, letter size, general document. We're going to click OK. InDesign then opens up this document for us, and here it is in our window, our document window. Okay, let's talk about layout for just a second. The layout is nothing more than the arrangement and positioning in a design of text, illustrations, photos, diagrams, and so forth. This is done in a word processing and desktop publishing programs, and layout refers to the arrangement of text and graphics. The layout of a document can determine which points are emphasized and whether the document is aesthetically pleasing. Now, let's go over a couple of items here first. You've got your black arrow, also known as your selection tool. You have your direct selection tool. You have your type tool, and the direct selection tool is used to grab the contents of a box, whereas your selection tool will grab the box, the text. This is the one you always want to use for the most part. The white arrow or the direct selection is specifically for the contents of a box. If you want to create text, you have to choose your type tool, and then you would draw your box and type whatever you wanted to in your type box, and there you go. Those are your basic 2-3 tools that you're going to use the most. Your graphics, to bring in a picture, would use your box here. It'll have an X in it. That's what distinguishes it from the other tool, which is a rectangular tool, or the ellipse tool, or the polygon tool, depending on which one you choose. You can do this here too as well to bring in your photos or pictures, your graphics. Let's toss in and talk about inserting pages in a document once you get going. Right now, we just have one page. If you click once on your page panel over here, you see you've got one page. We'll just avoid the master page up here. How do you know whether you're on a page or not? First of all, it won't just be highlighted in blue. The more important is that the page number, or possibly the master, if you go up here, is highlighted in black. That's how you know you're on a page, because look, I can turn that page blue, but really I'm on page 1. If I double click, now I'm surely on 1. If I double click here, now I'm on my master. And you notice the thing that determined it was the highlight in black. I can simply add pages by clicking here. And notice they're facing pages like we chose. Now, what if I want to insert a page here? Well, instead of just clicking Add Pages, which I can't make them go wherever, I could go to my panel menu. And right here, your panel menu is going to, every panel has a menu, and it's the triangle and the 4 lines. If you click there, I could go to Insert Pages. Now, I could say I want to insert one page after page 3, and I want the A master assigned. We're just going to ignore the master thing for right now. And we're going to click OK, and automatically it puts it right there. So I could do it that way. But as with all good programs, I have so many ways to do a thing. I can also come up to Layout, Pages, Insert Pages, and the same dialog box is open for me. Now, down here, this jumps me to pages, but it does not allow me to insert a page. My options on inserting pages are basically limited to my panels or my menu. Anytime you want to accomplish a task in InDesign, basically go around the wheel. Can I do it in the tool panel? Can I do it in the menu panel? Can I do it from the control panel? Can I do it in my panels over here? And also don't forget, your control panel too has a panel menu. So just to keep that in mind. Now finally, let's talk about creating that all-important document preset. If I want to create, let's say that once a week I have to create a certain type of document. Instead of having to go through the motions of file, new document, and choose everything all over again every week, what I would do instead would be to create a document preset. So I'm going to go to my File, Document Presets, and then I'm going to Define. Now, I'm going to click New. and I'm going to call it whatever I want. Something that would be memorable to you. If it's some kind of thing, whatever it is that you do, that weekly thing. Let's say it's a bill. So we'll just call it billing. Now it's a print document, so I would leave my intent on print as opposed to web or digital publishing. It's only going to be one page. The fact that it's facing pages doesn't really matter. Now, I'm going to make it letter size, and all the other things are pretty much going to be default. Leave my orientation the same. Remember, I can always change that from more options to fewer, so that I don't have to deal with the bleeding the slug. And then, once I've got that set, I'm going to click OK. Now, there it is. I can edit this or delete it. I can load it, save it. And this gives me all the specifics on my preset. And just so that we know, let's edit it and do something strange to it so that we know that it's something particular. Let's make it a U.S. business card, why don't we? And we're going to give it 3 pages. And we'll start it on page 1. We'll click OK. Now, there's my billing and my settings. OK. Now, if I want to, I can open. I can say New, Document. But I can choose that setting. OK. And look, there is my document preset. All set up, ready for me to go once a week, just like I need it. So I don't have to do that ever again. In this case, I'm not interested in that. And there you have it. That's a document preset. And that concludes Chapter 1, Lesson 1.1.